Welcome into Sports of Steel. Ferg here with you. It's week 2 of the Saturday slate. Going to talk a little bit about week 1. You could just absolutely lose all the momentum in the world after week 1. We'll get you ready for week 2's matchup versus West Virginia. I'll give you my 3 games to watch this week. And then my favorite part of the podcast, my upset picks of the week. So let's get started, though, with last week's just dismal, devastating loss to Wyoming. Everybody knows that Missouri is going into week 2, 0-1 after that dismal performance against the Cowboys. And look, this team, they had received a lot of praise in the offseason. A lot of pundits picked them to be a sleeper team, to be a team that potentially challenges Georgia, Florida, as those 3 teams kind of in the East. And look, I was one of them. All right? I really thought that Missouri, there's no way they would lose that game against Wyoming. No way. No way at all. But after saying all that, there's something we have to remember. And that's that one loss doesn't really change Missouri being able to contend with those 2 teams. It just means that it's going to be much harder than it already was going to be. Look, they started off this game against Wyoming. They came out, they were on fire. They went up 14-0 there in the first quarter. But man, there's something about Barry Odom's teams that when it goes wrong, it just goes really, really wrong, and they can't seem to get the momentum back after it does go wrong. I mean, Missouri got outscored in the second quarter alone 27-3. That can't happen against really good teams, let alone against Wyoming, especially if you're going to win that game. The coaching staff, they have to do a better job of managing the bleeding when it occurs. They've got to recognize it, use timeouts. I don't know. Chew guys' asses out. I know that's not Barry Odom's style, but sometimes, man, when your team is bleeding the way it is, and they came, I thought they were focused to come out, but I thought because it was too easy, they scored those first 2. I mean, to go up 14-0, it was too easy for them, right? And then, it's just like they've got to do something that when things go awry, they've got to correct it, and they've got to correct it on the spot right then and there. Because look, if these teams played 10 times, Missouri wins them 9 of the 10. It just takes that one game, though, in college football where everything goes wrong and a team like Wyoming can beat you. And that's exactly what happened on Saturday. Look, you lose the turnover battle 3-0. You can't do that. You have a fumble returned for a touchdown. It was 14-3. Now it's 14-10. Now the home crowd's getting into it. The Wyoming players are starting to believe. Then, right before halftime, you're trying to score to tie the game up, and you fumble the damn ball inside the 5-yard line. You have it returned far enough. Kelly Bryant, I thought, hustled like hell to get down there to prevent that from being a touchdown. Unfortunately, it was a horse collar tackle that allowed Wyoming to get the 3 points. But at least he ran down there and stopped him from getting a touchdown. Jonathan Nance, that was the poorest attempt at tackling somebody I've ever seen. Look, I'm happy he got the 2 touchdowns. But damn, son, you got to tackle the dude. Like, you cannot let them score like that. I mean, that was just an absolute weak attempt on his part. He didn't make it up later in the game with the touchdown. But it's the little things like that that can change an absolute outcome of the game. And this dude's a redshirt senior. It's not like Nance is a freshman. He knows better than that. And I think if he was put in that spot again, he even knows that was not the effort needed in order for that play. And I think if he was put in that spot again, you'd see a different outcome. But those two plays, that fumble return for a touchdown, and then not getting a touchdown, and that's 3 points right there, or that's 10 points right there that you just give up to the other team. Then you come out in the second half, you drive the ball all the way down the field, you score a touchdown, but then you have it negated because your all-world tight end shoves a dude when he had no business doing it. All he should have done was just use his body to shield that defender from the ball, and it's a touchdown. There's no reason. Now, look, I get it. If you go back to the game against Kentucky, that's what the Kentucky tight end did, and they won the game. So if you're Albert O, you're saying, hey, what the hell, man? Last year, this wasn't called a penalty. But he has to know better. You can't do that. You're a much bigger player. Just shield the defender away from the ball, and you score that touchdown easily. But then right after the penalty, the very next play, man, you throw an interception. On a play, you go completely across your body, across the field on a throw. No business doing that whatsoever. And it's an interception. Wyoming has all the momentum. They go down and score a touchdown. You can argue, man, 17 points off of turnovers alone in that game. And to make matters worse, your defense, which was stellar against the run last year, gave up 2 huge runs on back-to-back series. One that went for like over 60 yards, and then one that went over 70 yards. Like, if I had to pick, like, if I had a game plan for Wyoming, like, how is Wyoming going to win this game? That pretty much covers it, right? Like, if they're going to win, they needed all those things to go right. And it did. 2 perfect bounces that went right to Wyoming defenders, fumbles, went right to Wyoming defenders that they were just so easily able to scoop. Like, that doesn't happen all the time, guys. Doesn't happen all the time at all. And Missouri had all those negative plays happen to them. And look, they were still only 1 play away from coming back and winning that game. So you have to kind of put things kind of in perspective. And like I said, losing game 1 versus Wyoming, it isn't great. It isn't great at all. And, it's obviously not ideal. But it is only game 1, and there is still a lot of football left to be played. We've seen Barry Odom's teams before get down and come back and play really good. I mean, if Missouri comes out and they win the next 8 or 9 games, and they still go, let's say they still go 9-3, 10-2. So, I think we would have taken that, right? There would still be people be like, but that Wyoming game, it's one game. It was last week. It's in the past. Missouri still has a ton of opportunities ahead. Look, they can still achieve a lot of their goals that they set at the beginning of the year. They can still win the SEC East. That's still a possibility. If they somehow get this bowl ban overturned, they can still play in Atlanta. That's all possible. It's all still there. It's not complete doom and gloom on the season. No, it was not what you wanted in week 1. It's not what anybody around that program wanted in week 1. Because they killed a lot of their buzz in week 1 right there. But they can still achieve everything they want to do. But they have to right the ship this week and take care of business versus the Mountaineers. This week was supposed to be a big coming out party in Columbia. Kelly Bryant's first game, chance for fans to really see the new South End Zone. Alcohol, baby! It's now being sold inside the stadium. SEC Nation announced that they're coming to Columbia. So Paul's going to be in Columbia, baby. You have a chance to knock off a Big 12 opponent in your place. A team with some name recognition. There was a lot of things that fans were really looking forward to. And I feel like last week's loss really killed a lot of that. Like I was really expecting this week to be to be close to a sellout if it wasn't going to be a sellout. I expected to really be close to one. Now, like I don't know what we're going to see attendance wise. Maybe people still come out because of the whole South End zone. The fact that it's still, look, it's Kelly Bryant's first game as a Missouri Tiger at home. I think fans should come out and watch. I'm anxious to see how this team's going to react. Because when they have lost games in the past, they've tended to come back and played pretty damn well. I look back to the Kentucky game last year. They came out and they took care of Florida. I think Florida was ranked 11th, I think, at the time. I could be wrong, but they were around that area. May have been 8th, 11th, somewhere around there. And they came back and they played really well the next week on the road against, I think Florida was 8th. I think they were in the top 10. So it's going to be interesting to see. Look, I know the diehards are going to come irregardless. The diehards will be there. It's going to be interesting to see if the non-diehards, show up. So let's go ahead. Let's dive in deeper on this matchup. West Virginia visits Columbia to take on the Missouri Tigers. Kickoff is set for 12 Eastern, 11 Central, and you can watch that game on ESPN2. I'm not sure if Missouri put anything out about the TV where you can find it this week. If they haven't, maybe I'll ping a little tweet to them and say, hey, what's up? You guys did it so well for everybody last week. What's going on this week? And if they have put it out, I'll put it out on the Facebook page. I'll put it out on Twitter, so you'll have it there. All right. West Virginia last week, they beat number 2 FCS James Madison at home 20-13. Look, guys, this game was tied 10-10 going into the fourth quarter. James Madison may have lost that game, but man, they outplayed West Virginia in a lot of areas in that game. James Madison had more total yards than West Virginia, 328 to 294. They outrushed the Mountaineers, 172. West Virginia only had 34 rushing yards in this game. They had more first downs, 18-13. And look, James Madison was more efficient on third downs than the Mountaineers. The Mountaineers were very lucky to win last week. They had to have some things go their way. And look, West Virginia won the turnover battle 3-0. That's what got them to win. Had James Madison not turned the ball over 3 times, they would have beat the Mountaineers. We're going to look at each other's stats going into the game. You look at the Tigers' offense, their total offense ranks 22nd. Their rushing offense, 88th. Their passing offense ranked 5th. I mean, when you get 423 yards, it's going to go pretty well for you. Time of possession, they're 61st in the country. Red zone, 107th, man. They really struggled in the red zone once again, and I thought that was going to be something that would be different this year under Kelly Bryant, just because of his rushing ability. They're really opened things up. Because now you can pass the ball in once you get in the red zone. You can hand it off to the running back. You have a quarterback that can really run it in. You can run the option. There's just so many damn options that I figured that red zone scoring was going to be really the strength of this team. Third down conversion, they're 71st in the country. Not too terrible. You look at West Virginia's offense. Their total offense ranks 102nd. Their rushing offense, 123rd. Their passing offense, 55th. Time of possession, they ranked 81st. Dude, red zone, they didn't even get in the red zone. Every single one of West Virginia's points came outside the red zone last week. Every single one. Third down, they're 87th, and they're ranked 87th in the country, and that's on offense. You look at the defense for the Tigers. Total defense, 76th. Rushing, 122. They got some things they got to clean up, man. Because if you look at it, Wyoming, they did a little bit of misdirection, and now all of a sudden everybody's out of position. Those are things that have to change. Passing defense, Missouri ranks 10th. And look, they're not going to rank 10th all year. All right? Wyoming didn't pass the ball a whole lot. Time of possession, or I'm sorry, let's see. That's pretty much it on the defense. You look at West Virginia on defense, their total defense, 63rd. Rushing defense, 90th. Passing defense, 33rd. And look, James Madison was not trying to pass the football really on West Virginia all that much. Okay? They're trying to rush it on them, and they did a pretty good job of it for being an FCS school. But the thing about really, when you think about stats, I mean, it's week 1. So you kind of take it with a grain of salt because of teams that they played. You know, some schools played tougher opponents than others in week 1, obviously. But I think it's really telling. You know, Wyoming, this should have been a perfect matchup for Missouri, considering they were a really good rushing defense last year. It should have been something that they should have been able to handle and had success in. But like I said, you got to take stats with a grain of salt when you're looking at the first week. All right, prediction time for this game. Look, Missouri comes into this game as a 14-point favorite. I do believe that Missouri will win this game, but I think it's going to be closer than that. I've got the Tigers win this game 31-24. Yeah. I think the defense is still going to have some struggles. I think West Virginia is going to score some points. I think both teams are going to be better than what they were week 1. And I just think Missouri is going to get the better of it. This time, scoring 31 points it's going to be enough for them. They're not going to need to score any more than that. All right, some news and notes. Kelly Bryant in the game last week against Wyoming, he set career high in passing yards at 423, completions at 31, and pass attempts at 48. Let's see. Jonathan Johnson and Larry Roundtree are both approaching 2,000 career yards. Jonathan Johnson just needs 54 receiving yards in this game in order to get to the 2,000 mark. And then looking at Larry Roundtree's here, he needs 40 yards to get to 2,000 for the Tigers. All right. Now it's time to take a closer look at the 3 games to watch this week. We got some damn money matchups this week, guys. Holy crap. This is why week 1 always kind of sucks. And week 2, there's maybe 1 or 2 matchups, but generally it kind of sucks too. But not this year. This year we got some matchups. So the first game I'm going to watch this week, unranked Cincinnati goes on the road to take on number 5, Ohio State. Look, Cincinnati was my team last week, guys. I talked about if they got to win, they're going to go into Columbus with some damn confidence. You can watch this game. It's going to kick off at 12 Eastern, 11 Central, so the same time as the Missouri game. So you can record this game, watch the Missouri game. You can find it on TV. It's going to be on ABC. Hey, Cincinnati won its opening game last week against UCLA, 24-14. I thought the Bearcats played okay in that game, but they certainly could have played better. Look, it was a sloppy week for a lot of teams in week 1. There's a lot of things that coaches are going to see on film that they're going to be able to correct and come out and improve in week 2. And I just think having that week though against UCLA is going to better prepare them for taking on Ohio State this week. I'm not quite ready to pick Ohio State as one of my upset picks of the week, but look, I'm putting them on upset watch, all right? Because this is something, and if this game was at Cincinnati, I would 100% they'd be my upset pick of the week, no doubt about it. But I think it's going to be a really good game. It's going to be a very close game. I think Ohio State in a nail-biter wins this game. All right, game 2. features number 12 Texas A&M going on the road to take on number 1 Clemson. You can see that game is going to come on at 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central. Hey, look, it's going to be on ABC. You don't even have to turn the channel if you decide to watch the first game. It's right there. All right? It's going to be on ABC. You don't even need to turn it off of ABC. Clemson won this game last year in College Station 28-26. That was the game that Kelly Bryant came in the second half and really saved Clemson's season, in my opinion. Lawrence started that second half of the game, but failed to move the ball in really any sort of way. Kellen Mond also had a great second half as he threw for 3 touchdown passes to damn near lead the comeback for the Aggies. Mond finished that game 23 of 40 for 430 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he also ran for 33 yards in the game. But a lot has changed since that meeting in College Station. Trevor Lawrence's game has continued to rise. Mon last year, he had some ups and downs kind of after that game. I think both quarterbacks are better than they were last year. And I think this is going to be an exciting game early on. But Clemson, I think, is just too much for Texas A&M. And I think Clemson ends up winning this game by double digits. All right, game number 3. Probably going to be the game that's going to be the closest game, I think, this weekend, and probably the most exciting game this weekend. You got number 6 LSU going on the road to take on number 9 Texas. That game is going to kick off 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central. Where can you find it? On ABC, baby. You can find it on ABC. Look, you don't even have to turn the channel. Just wake up. If you don't watch the Missouri game, you can just turn it on the Ohio State-Cincinnati game. Just go to ABC and just don't move for the rest of the week. Or not the rest of the week. The rest of the night. But, after the Missouri game, I'd watch that game first. Then click over to ABC, and you're good for the rest of the night. 2 back-to-back, really top 15 ranked matchups against one another. You can't really go wrong with that. Both teams won pretty handily last week in their first game, as both quarterbacks threw for over 275 yards. Joe Burrow had 278. He also had 5 touchdowns in his game. Sam Ehlinger also, he had 276 yards passing for the Longhorns, and he had 4 touchdown passes last week. Look, this is going to be a really interesting game, because each year we've been asking if these teams are back. Are the Longhorns back? Hook 'em, baby, hook 'em. And each year they let us down. Which, I really don't want Texas back anyways. I'm horns down all the way. The same can be said about LSU. Is LSU back? Can they finally contend in the West? Can they contend for an SEC championship? And each year, we keep asking this question, and each year they're not really fully back yet. It's going to be interesting in this game, though, to see this LSU defense go up against Sam Ehlinger and that Texas offense. And for some reason, Texas under Tom Herman has had a knack for playing up to the level of their competition. They play, I think, USC. I think that was last year's game. They probably should have lost that game, but came back, won the game. It was a great damn game. Unless my memory is really just boggled and somehow Texas lost that game. Maybe Texas just came back and made it a close game. I can't really remember. But Texas always seems to rise up. I remember when they beat Oklahoma. And it was, I think the call was Dicker the kicker. Got that field goal. Texas has a knack for playing up. The problem for Texas is that they also tend to play down to their competition as well and lose games that they absolutely should not lose ever. And that's why there's times where we're like, man, damn, Texas is back, baby, they're back. And then 2 weeks later, they get this loss that you're like, no, they're definitely not back. Not back at all. I think this will, though, be the best game of the week in week 2. And, with Texas playing at home, I've got them in a squeaker in this game. Because I think there's just Sam Ehlinger is a gamer to me. I really like the way this kid plays. He's got moxie. A lot of people don't like it. I didn't like it in the bowl game, but he shows up, man, and you got to at least respect that. And he somehow wills his guys, somehow, some way, in ways that we all kind of wish Drew was able to do. Like, Drew, physically gifted. Ellinger just kind of has it in between the ears as far as being able to get his guys to just come back and pull together. So I've got Texas in a squeaker over LSU on Saturday night. All right, those were my 3 games to watch this week. Now it's my favorite time. It's time for my upset picks of the week. So far, I'm 500 in upset picks, guys. Not doing so hot. Memphis won last week. Northwestern, though, unfortunately lost their starting quarterback in their loss to Stanford. And look, I know Stanford lost their quarterback, KJ Costello, as well, but it meant more losing Northwestern's quarterback than probably Stanford, because Stanford can run the ball a lot more. Northwestern needed, really good quarterback play to I think have a shot and win that game. That's why I was picking them to win that game. I think it's Trent Green's son was the starting quarterback for Northwestern. So hopefully, though, I'll have more luck this week, and I'll get all these picks right. All right, so my upset picks of the week, I've got the Maryland Terrapins. They're at home. I have them beating number 21 Syracuse. Josh Jackson, the quarterback for Maryland last week, threw for 4 touchdown passes. And look, I just like what I saw from them in week 1. I think Mike Loxley's kind of getting this thing kind of going in the right direction. It is only week 1, but man, you can really get it going. There's a lot of talent in that DMV area, all right? The District, Maryland, and Virginia. A lot of talent there, and a lot of them go out of state. If they can just sit there and get the talent, we talk about this in Missouri. If Missouri could just get that top talent out of St. Louis and Kansas City, they could contend for the East, I think, almost every year. It's just getting those guys to stay home is the problem. Maryland has that same sort of problem, and a big win here over Syracuse will go a long way in trying to change that. Get those kids from DeMatha Catholic to stay home. All right, my next upset pick of the week. Look, Nebraska joined the top 25 this week, and I'm sorry, but they're not going to be in it that much longer. I got the Buffaloes of Colorado beating the Huskers this week. Colorado won this game in Lincoln last year on a last-minute touchdown. And look, Nebraska just really struggled in week 1 mightily against South Alabama. It was a 1-score game going into the 4th quarter, all right? A 1-score game. So Colorado's at home. They're going to have the crowd behind them. I think they get it done against the Huskers. And Nebraska's going to be sitting there shaking their heads again this year, just like they did last year. Everybody wanted to know, that's another team. Is Nebraska back? Scott Frost in his 2nd year. Look, I think they made a great hire in Scott Frost, but I don't think they get it done this week. I think Colorado upsets them. All right, my last upset pick of the week. I'm going USC at home versus Stanford, damn it. Stanford, you're going to lose. All right? I picked you last week. You came out, you won. Good on you. You're losing this week, darn it. All right? I'm naming this the Battle of the Backup Quarterbacks, as both KJ Costello and JT Daniels suffered injuries in week 1. Costello suffered a head injury. JT Daniels for USC suffered multiple ligament tears in his knee, so he's going to be out. Daniels is going to be out for the rest of the year. Costello, on the other hand, he was just ruled out kind of late in the week this week, so you never know when he's going to be back. Concussions, it's a fickle thing, man. You just never know when somebody's going to be back from a concussion. And the reason why I really think USC is going to win this game is just they got more athletes. And I think they'll be able to load the box defensively and stop Stanford's ground attack, make Stanford have to throw it. And with a backup quarterback, getting prepared kind of late in the week, I think that's what's going to kind of overdo it for them. And I got USC pulling it out and winning this game. All right. That's all I got for you on this edition of the Saturday Slate. If you haven't done so already, I'm giving away 2 Cardinals tickets. So if you're a Cardinals fan, and you like my page on STL Fan Zone, or if you haven't liked my page on STL Fan Zone on Facebook, please go to my Facebook page. Like STL Fan Zone. You'll find it's pinned to the top. You will find the directions on how you can win 2 Cardinals tickets to the Cardinals versus Nationals game on September 17th. And so, yeah, go find that page and do that. So please, like I said, go to my Facebook page, like me on Facebook. It's the name of the page is STL Fan Zone. And also, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. It is Sports of Steel. Go into the filters, change it to channels. You'll be able to pull up the Sports of Steel. You'll see the logo there. It's just a microphone. It's gray and black. Gray microphone, and then Sports of Steel. Find that, click on it, click the subscribe button. It goes a long way and really helps me out. You can also follow me on Twitter. It is at Sports of Steel. Just type that in there, and you can follow me on Twitter. And I'd love to have any questions or anything you have. Shoot them to me on Twitter. I'm going to be live tweet. I'm going to be tweeting the game, obviously, on Saturday. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you all have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you guys all on next week on week 3 of the Saturday Slate here on Sports of Steel.